Good morning, folks. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the BradicalRadical Show. I'm your host, Bradley. Yonzer's over there. And today, we are continuing our Let's Play of The Tale Makes the Fox, the 7 districts of Snean. On the last episode, stuff. On this episode, more stuff. I'm a little lost in the story. But Miles finds her way back to the main wing, and suddenly she's thrown into a maze of hallways indoors. I should have left Fonzu! Even in her current situation, she only half means that. The girl finally takes a wild guess and exits the service hallway. To her relief, she finds her way back to the main entrance. Ha! Who needs that lady now? Despite her short block, the main entrance hall isn't where she wants to be, and she shouldn't celebrate just yet. As Miles is about to discover for herself. The clock chimes to the new hour. The girl is now officially late. Everyone will be sitting down for dinner, and Anju's office will be left unguarded. Bingo. Now she can celebrate, though it will be short-lived. Miles turns the knob of the door, but it won't budge. Idiot! Like Anju would ever just leave it open! The auditor looks over at the key card reader. I couldn't just lie. I was looking for them or something like that. I am lost, and this is the only place I know how to get to. That's totally believable lie, right? But it's a lie, and one thing Anju can do well is sniff out lies. The Gumiho doesn't know that, though. And so, with a brave amount of stupidity, she takes out her keycard.
Here you are.
The girl slips the keycard into her sleeve before turning to the vampire, who just so happens to be passing by.
Dinner has begun.
Begun? Begun? Buddy, that says gun. As in shoot, shoot, bang, bang. I got lost! She says faster than is believable.
Then it's a good thing I found you. I'll escort you to the dining room.
Miles nods and follows after Celios, looking back at the door. Although she's grateful someone has stopped her from doing something so rash, the girl's just itching to know what Anju is hiding.
The dining room is just through there. I'm sorry for not informing you sooner.
The paramedic stops at the door that looks exactly like all the others they just passed. Next to it, there's another keycard reader, which is surprising. All the rooms have keycard readers.
Most do. They didn't used to, but certain visitors made it necessary.
I bet this has to do with those names on the desk. Other spies, perhaps.
It would be so much easier if Gaki didn't exist.
Miles takes out her keycard, but Celios beats her to the punch.
You only have limited access, correct?
I can't even open the door to the dining room myself.
Perhaps I'm simply being too cautious. The dining room should be okay. The governess most likely only placed limits on her own workspace, wouldn't you say?
He looks at Miles knowingly. So he didn't see what I was about to do. Then why hasn't he ratted me out yet? The vampire opens the door and steps aside to let the Gumiho walk in ahead of him.
Celios, there you are.
Sorry for my lateness, governess. I was just fetching our guest from her office.
Oh, so it's the fox's fault.
I have a lot of work to do.
So much that you're late for dinner. How rude. Hurry up and take a seat. We've already started without you.
Celios takes a seat first, kneeling on a large cushion next to Kali, which leaves Miles with no choice but to sit between him and Anju. Is everyone here?
Yes. We only have a small team of workers.
Size doesn't matter, Fox. Efficiency does.
Game, I don't want you telling me things like size doesn't matter. Only 4 cushions are placed around the grand table that can comfortably fit 16 people. Then there's the food. Several different dishes are placed on their own respective communal plates. I don't know why the narrator's voice turned into Miles' speaking voice. Slices of rare beef sent in puddles of blood, and grilled fish fillets are being blackened by a hot plate. There's enough food to feed an orphanage. Miles looks over at Anju's plate, and it's nothing but shellfish and fruit. A strange combination that the succubus picks at between her sharp-tongued quips. So Callie and Celios are the only employees here.
Of course not. I said efficient, not stupid. They are the only resident employees. The others take care of matters off-site.
What sort of matters?
Ugh.
The governess rolls her eyes and pops the grape into her mouth, obviously done with Miles' questions. Oops.
Perhaps we should leave the interrogations for outside of the dining room.
Celios offers gently. That was a weird thing to have a narration text of, essentially, he said. It was a little odd. Anzu breaks the head off the king prawn and sucks the meat out of it in bitter silence. The vampire, taking this as a cue to begin eating, serves himself and Miles. The room dines in a strange silence. Anzu looks scully, but the girl never raises her head from her plate as she pushes her salad around.
Is she still sulking? What a boring toy she's turning out to be.
The woman catches Miles staring at Cully with a concerned furrowing of her brow. The governess' attention pounces between them as she wonders which will entertain her the most.
You shouldn't fill yourself up on meat, Fox. Try some of the oysters.
Oysters! The woman looks around the table, but she's never seen an oyster before. There are a few things on the table that she has never seen before, in fact. Some of them appear rather frightening to her, like the strange fruit that looks like the inside of a cracked head.
Oh, you poor child. Have you never had an oyster before?
Anzu lifts a half shell off her own plate, shifting the fleshy blob around in its own cloudy juices. It doesn't look very delicious, but Miles' tail still fled with anticipation. Well, it tastes like shrimp, or maybe like tuna.
No, say ah.
Alright. Succubus lifts the shell to Miles' lips and pours the goop down her mouth. Jesus Christ. God! It's not even intentional. It's just my brain not liking that she pours the goop down her mouth. The girl winces at the strange sensation of the oyster rolling down her throat. Is it me?
Yes.
Is it me? Am I wrong?
Silly thing. Don't just swallow it. You should chew it a few times first. Really grind the flavor out. Here, try another one.
Anzu moves in towards Miles again. The fox leans in, opening her mouth, ready to receive the second helping of seafood. Kali's fork clatters to the ground. Gumiho looks away from Anzu and to the red-faced girl. She stares right back at Miles, and for once, she doesn't look so angry. More like frightened.
Stupid girl!
Sorry, governess.
Kali's body shakes as she lowers her head and retrieves the fork from the floor.
That's better. Now, back to you, dear.
Music's intense for some reason. I think I've had enough.
Nonsense. Now, open up.
No, really,
Open your mouth.
I don't enjoy being sternly told to open my mouth. Miles looks at Kali, and then, out of the corner of her eye, sees Celios nod slowly. Gumiho turns back to Anzu with a weak smile and opens her mouth. This time, Miles chews the raw oyster. It's probably one of the most delicious things she has ever tasted, which certainly doesn't answer the question of why she had such a bitter taste in her mouth all of a sudden. The governess practically force-feeds Miles the entire meal. It doesn't go unnoticed by Kali or Celios, but neither speaks up about the woman's strange behavior. After all that rich food, the Gumiho feels too tired to continue on with her work, and as Celios suggests to her, she goes back to her room to take a nap. She wakes from her nap feeling recharged, grateful for the suggestion from earlier. The only problem now is that she doesn't quite feel like getting back to work yet. Her head just isn't there. We've been poisoned! Do I try to sneak into the office? Do I explore the palace? Do I double check the archives? Or do I go into town?
God, what's the benefit of doing any of both?
I don't know, man. If I go into town, I'm probably gonna run into Gaki again, and we really don't fucking like Gaki.
Okay, then let's not do that. Let's take the introverted route and just avoid everybody that we absolutely can't stand.
I guess we'll try to sneak into Anzu's office again, even though they'll probably murder me. I didn't come here to slack off.
I mean, that's what we want, right?
It is what our ultimate goal is.
Is to just die. Again.
Well, yeah. Get in, get the dirt, and get out. That's the idea. Again, the fox decides to break into Anzu's office without a plan and prepared to take unnecessary risk. This can only end one way.
Girl, why, you've woken from your nap so soon.
The girl freezes in place the moment she hears Anzu. She didn't even make it to the door this time. What kind of spy is she? I don't like to laze around for very long.
But you're a fox. I thought that was all you were good at.
For a moment there, I actually thought she seemed...
That sounded better in my head.
Huh? Did she just sound sincere?
I should have said something more like, I thought lying on your back was all a fox... No, that's still too obvious. I know I can do better.
Alright. I should probably get back to...
Since you're awake, join me for a walk around the courtyard.
It isn't a question, and it doesn't need an answer. Miles follows the governess out into the courtyard. The women walk slowly under the drooping trees, and everything seems surreally serene. Surreally serene.
It's a good one.
Surreally serene.
That's a pretty good one.
I wonder what she's thinking.
Perhaps I could have said something about Fox's inferior mental capacity. Something like, aren't you always in a state of... Ugh, that is too much of a reach. It has to be perfect.
Anzu's mind continues to obsess over the perfect insult, while on the surface she maintains a blank-faced stare. She doesn't even notice that she's being watched by her walking companion. This is the first time that Miles dares to look directly at Anzu, out of the corner of her eye, that is. Anzu is beautiful. She's one of those women who, no matter who you are or what you're into, will always appear beautiful in everyone's eyes. Miles hasn't met many succubi before, but she knows it isn't just Anzu's race that makes staring at her hard to bear.
Are you enjoying the view?
What? The governess motions in front of them. They stopped at a large koi pond. When precisely they arrive, the girl doesn't know. For the first time, she notices the fish are flittering around the water, like silk scarves fluttering in a breeze. Yes, it's beautiful!
Are they the only beautiful thing here?
Anzu's inviting me to hit on her, and I kind of love that I gave Miles Toby Determined's voice. The Gumi Hill remains quiet. She tries to distract herself from Anzu's penetrating stare that isn't half as subtle as Miles had been. If gazes could make contact with skin, the succubus would surely be resting her gaze on the side of the Gumi Hill's head.
You enjoy watching me, don't you, Fox?
It's my job!
I thought you were an auditor. Surely your job is to watch my finances, not my person.
Miles falters, and she can't think of a way to untake her mistake. She just remains quiet. The pregnant silence?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Sure means something, though.
Hello, children, my old friends. I've come to give birth to you again. Within the sound of pregnancy. Which is probably a fucking horrifying sound.
It's a lot of screaming.
Right. It's not a pleasant experience to my knowledge.
It's not.
How the hell am I running into an encoding overload? Oh yes, it's literally a fucking slideshow. Calm your tits. Calm your tits, OBS. I wonder how long that's been going on for. Okay, it's gone now.
Don't worry.
I
I
completely-
enjoy it when others watch me.
Completely forgot to fully read, whatever the fuck was being said.
Yeah.
The woman reaches out and lifts Miles' chin towards herself, a small smile on her face.
What are you thinking about, Fox?
Anzu's coming on to me.
Alright.
It's not my job to say! She suddenly drops her hand away from the girl's face, turning her back away and walking on ahead.
I see why Lucy likes you. You're a fun little thing.
A strange tension strangles the patience right out of Miles. Rising with each passing second, she can't even find solace in the thought that Lucifer may appreciate her thorough work. Hold on. Alright. That's enough, Governess Anzu.
Enough of what?
I'm here to do my job, and so these games have to end now.
End my games? Because you say so?
The woman hides a breathy laugh behind the long sleeve of her kimono, her whole body shaking with a mock joy.
I've told you this before. My games only end in one of two ways. So, make sure to play nicely.
And what if I don't?
Then nothing can save the fox from its curiosity. And we all know what curiosity does to foxes.
Do I ignore the comment or do I sass her back?
No.
Sass has the word ass in it, so.
Alright.
That's not how it
How
goes.
does it go, then?
If you're losing at your own game.
That's the beauty of playing my games. Only I know the rules, and the rest of the world is left guessing. Are you good at guessing, Fox?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
Well, in that case, I'll leave you to guess my next move.
Anzu gives a sweeping gesture towards the beautiful plants.
You should stay and enjoy the rest of the garden. Who knows when one will get another opportunity to see the light of day, after all.
With that, Succubus strolls back towards the main entrance of the palace. A moment later, the door slams sharply behind her. Leaves fall onto the pond, and several of the koi float to the top, belly up and reeking of death. Simply saying that the governess is in a bad mood is a clear understatement. Miles feels both emotionally and physically exhausted. For her first full day of work, it feels like the last. Although she's no closer to the answer she needs for her report, the day has been a complete waste. She yawns, barely able to keep her eyes open. Gumiho just barely manages to undress before drifting off to sleep. Hi, Celios. You're 350 years old. There are reasons why, despite every last personality training her, Miles is in fact a diligent worker. A dingbat.
Dinky baby.
It's not simply because of her tragic backstory or because of the fact that she idolizes a tyrant. The girl is a hard worker because she has always overcompensated for her two-tailed existence. The logic plays as this: not all foxes have 9 tails, but all gummihos are diligent. Conclusion: no matter how many tails a fox has, a diligent fox is a gumiho. The statement is incorrect, of course. A gumiho, by definition, must have 9 tails. But it's that sort of logic that plays in Miles' head and makes her work her hardest, even when the odds are stacked against her.
I thought they weren't. I thought they didn't have 9 tails.
I don't know, man. I don't remember Naruto going like this. Shippuden gets weird. It's all useless. There's too much to get through. Even diligent workers have moments of doubt of futility, though. In the Fox Girl's case, her doubts are probably worth listening to, and she should pack up and leave before she digs deeper into problems that go beyond matters of simply finance. But I can't give up. I have people who are depending on me. By people, Miles obviously means Lucifer. Everyone else, she neither knows nor cares about. If she did, perhaps she would consider their needs first and put an end to the witch hunt. What am I gonna do? The Gumiso head slams down onto the open file. She's ran the numbers in her head, and the files will take at least another week to get through. Time she doesn't have for work that doesn't promise to be fruitful. What the girl needs is to look long and hard at her life choices and make some new ones. She won't do that, however, so I'll break Anzu's neck. She won't do that either. Or hold her hand underwater until her life flashes before her eyes. Perhaps Miles' thoughts should be kept to herself while she's contemplating her next move. The most important thing is that, in the next few moments, everything will become clear. That's it. I'm taking this straight to the head. I'm not wasting my time here for a moment longer. I need water. Double determined hurts my throat, apparently. I'll never become the Razzdazzler at this rate. If the fox had waited for those few minutes, she surely would have experienced something more pleasant than what she's running towards now. The only thing that this encounter is fated to achieve is even more headache and perhaps some heartache too. Celios! Miles bursts through the archive doors and, in a way that isn't befitting of a guest, shouts across the room with her chest puffed up and her nose up high. I demand to speak to Anzu! Silence persists, and Miles' puffed up chest begins to deflate. Celios? The Gumiho walks further into the room, but finds no one within. Just when you think you know a guy, he just up and leaves. What is Celios not? The present lurks behind her, and she suddenly catches a metallic sound of fresh blood in the air.
When I'm at lunch is the answer to your question.
Miles turns, backing into the desk and putting distance between Celios and herself. The vampire never seems to be a comfortable distance away. It's always left to Miles to put him in his place. An overall fair distance away, where the stink of the pale man's bad diet can't abuse the girl's nose for a moment longer than necessary.
What brings you to the archives? I thought you had all the things you needed already.
I demand to speak to Governess Anzu.
Is that truly wise?
The vampire raises his brow, which is less effective when the other is already raised. It just makes him look more shocked than perplexed. That's for me to decide.
Best not to poke fires with your bare hands. It wouldn't be good for anyone who's involved.
That's not my problem. I'm here to do a job, so I'm going to do it. Now take me to Anzu.
If you want to speak to the governess, then why did you come here?
Miles opens her mouth, wanting to think of a better reason than the truth. When none come, she declares her reason with pride. I got lost.
Of course she did. Better to get this over with now, then.
The gummy hoe begins to follow Zalios out of the archives, but the guide stops abruptly along their path.
I believe it's best if you wait here. I'll go and inquire whether the governess is in the mood for company or not. If she is, I'll bring her here.
And if she isn't? Miles' smug smile doesn't agree with the pale man.
You'll thank Lucifer that you got lost and found me first.
Zalios looks around Anzu's office, but only calling an arrangement of cakes are there. Cakes of all sorts. The man knows the smart thing to do is to ignore his suspicions and take everything at face value. It's a shame that his own work ethic is getting in the way of that common sense.
Is the governess here?
No!
Why are you panting like that?
I was just exercising.
While eating cake? You'll get sick.
Of course, while eating cake. The governess was feeling bored and wanted to see my mouth do something entertaining.
Good lord! Anzu, count yourself lucky you didn't hear that one.
Alright.
The governess was feeling bored and wanted to see my mouth do something entertaining.
She decided that eating cake for her would do for now. Then she had a great idea. If I ate cake while doing jumping jacks, I could eat twice as much cake for her, and...
So, Governess Anzu is in here.
Kawa's voice squeaks in surprise as she realizes she's been tricked.
Oh, pet, we've been found out.
The raven-haired woman walks into view, clearly happy that her little game of hide-and-seek was just as much fun as she thought it'd be.
I'm sorry, governess.
About what? You played your part beautifully.
That was a very good trick, my lady.
Was it not?
The woman laughs again, slowly the other two laugh with her, albeit without the same understanding of what exactly is so funny. The more they laugh, the more Anzu does too, and the longer they are expected to follow her. Finally, they're all laughing so maniacally that Zalios thinks he's starting to lose his mind.
Okay, that's enough.
Anzu says it with a sudden amount of seriousness, her face dropping to an irritated scowl.
Why have you come here, Zalios?
The auditor wishes to have a word with you.
Why are you here, exactly? I don't recall instructing you to do her bidding.
It's tea time. You would have been displeased if she had disturbed you.
Right you are.
The governess laughs to herself. She's starting to think Zalios does his job, well, just to annoy her. She cannot reprimand him if he does nothing wrong. She muses over the thought while picking crumbs off Cowie's clothes. Moments pass, and a delightful thought comes to the succubus's mind.
I will see her after all. She must be quite lonely.
The woman chuckles once more as she watches Cowie's face crinkle in displeasure and then instantly try to hide it.
That is very wise of you, my lady.
I'll be back with you soon, pet. Come now, Zalios. Let us go see what games the fox wishes to play today.
Right this way, Governess.
Fox!
Anzu calls out loudly, much to the vampire's obvious
Why
chagrin.
is this becoming a habit? And of all places, why in my archives?
Anzu. Anzu! I'm glad you're here!
How
Sorry, I forgot what my
familiar.
voice was.
I never realized we were on a first-name basis, Fox.
She meant nothing by it, I'm sure. What do you want from the governess? Please, speak quickly. Having Anzu in the archives is the last thing I want right now.
Yes, do tell. I am quite interested to hear it.
I need the files on the lower tier collectors. They're not here.
What's this again?
Oh, is that all you want?
The woman's shoulders slouch and her high spirits suddenly congeal into something ugly.
Couldn't have thought of something more entertaining than beating that dead horse?
This isn't a game, Anzu. Governess.
Then, what is all of this? Your presence is really starting to irk me, Fox. Not only are you persistently in my business, but you're about as fun as roadkill. Actually, I take that back. Roadkill would still be more fun than you.
The black-haired woman thinks about it a moment longer, and a bubble of joy glows up inside of her, strong enough that she can smile and bob her shoulders up happily.
Come along then, let's get your noose. I mean, files.
Or maybe yours, my governess.
Lower tier, lower tier.
Anzu murders herself while Miles sits on the couch, as she was instructed to do, leaning back inconspicuously to get a good look at the second part of the room. There's no door protecting it, just a set of heavy velvet curtains that are too long and pull up to the threshold of the doorway.
Did you want something else?
The governess calls from inside the little room, shuffling folders around. She busies herself, putting all the files that are on the top shelf on the bottom, and vice versa. Just the files that I requested!
What about the lower mid-tier? I heard they had a very good quarter last year. All the red files? I don't know what they're for, but Carly organised them, and... How beautiful! They have little petals inside to keep out that old book smell. Oh, my pet is so very thoughtful.
No, just the...
I haven't seen this in a while.
Anzu walks out, holding a small jewelry box.
This holds Carly's teeth.
Why do you have a box with Carly's teeth in them? You keep her baby teeth in your office?
No, that would be awfully strange. I keep her adult teeth here. She often breaks them during our games. It's a good thing they grow back so quickly, or else she would look dreadful.
Anyways, perhaps I can help you look for the files if you're having trouble locating them.
There's no need. I found them already. They're right on the table in front of you.
Just as the woman says, under the cake stand and teapot, a stack of grey files are being used as coasters.
After the last time you asked for them, I had that little one check them over. I'm surprised you even want them. They're very boring.
Tampering with evidences.
Evidence of what? I thought you were here to check the finances. I merely had my assistant check to see if everything was there. There was no wrong in doing that. After all, that is a rather standard procedure. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, very.
Wonderful. Since that has all been cleared up, we should get going. It's almost lunchtime, you know.
Anzu places the jewelry box of teeth onto her desk, making a mental note to show Kali how well they've kept over the years. Weird. The thought runs through her mind so fiercely that she isn't as careful as she should be. The woman leaves the office first, walking briskly down the stairs to find her pet. Left to shut the door, Miles inches the door closed until there's only the slightest gap. If all goes well, she'll be able to double back to the office right after lunch and continue her search. For once, everything is going as the auditor wants. She's lost a lot of time getting these files, but with them, perhaps it'll all be worth it. Or not. There's nothing here! After running well into the afternoon, Miles still isn't any better off than when she first started this morning. Maybe even worse off, she thinks. But she isn't. She's just exaggerating. That's how demotivation works. One moment you're on top, and the next, there's a knock at the door.
Miss me?
Yeah, fuck, Gaki's back. A hole in the head, lice, unpaid overtime, my old neighbors, who used to have really loud. Those were all the things I missed more than you.
That hurts! I went and bought you a gift and everything, too.
Gaki plops himself down on the edge of the work desk, holding an apple under the girl's nose. Secondhand gifts, how sweet of you. Some girl gave it to you, and now you're giving it to me. Miles takes the apples and bites into it, a smugly sarcastic look on her face. She doesn't really believe that even a guy like Gaki would be so low as to palm off such a humble gift to another woman. But that's before the look on the boy's face makes that sarcastic comment suddenly seem real. It is, isn't it?
Well...
Miles throws the apple at the kitsune's head, the fruit suddenly not as delicious as before, even though she swallows the bite in her mouth and is kind of regretting throwing it.
I was joking. Mother gave it to me. Said I should give it to that nice-smelling fox I've been hanging around with. Mother can smell your pheromones all over me, and she says that I should strike while the iron is hot.
Gaki, I don't like you talking about pheromones.
By hot iron, she means your ovulating love canal.
What happened?
By hot iron, she means your ovulating love canal.
Is that right?
No. Miles shoves the disgusting pervert off the desk. The fox boy tumbles downwards before his instincts kick in, and he lands on the ground and
You could have hurt me!
That was the idea, idiot. No, you broke me out of my Toby determined voice. Gaki smirks, always being a gentleman who believes any reaction is good reaction.
The harder you push, the harder I come.
He winks, standing up to his full height and waltzing around the room. So did you come here for any reason in particular?
I wanted to tell someone about this girl I just met in town. She had the kind of ass that you just want to play patty cake on. A little like yours, but with more oomph, you know? More donut than bread roll. So, when I was...
Pass!
Wait, but I was just getting to the good part.
Don't want to hear it.
Whom else shall I tell of my exploits if you won't listen? I wanted to tell Anzu, but apparently she's out playing hide and seek with Callie. I have to say, I really envy that woman sometimes. I would give my right arm for a live-in, but Mother simply won't allow something so lowbrow, as she puts it. It's a curse, being born the son of such an illustrious family.
The last son, which is as good as not being born at all.
When I only have sisters.
Ah, but I found out something interesting in your family file. Not only is Gaki not your first name, but there are 2 masters in your house, not just one.
Yes, myself and my soon-to-be late father. Why bring that up?
Miles pulls his family file from beneath her latest stack. She had been hoping she'd get the opportunity to smear this little juicy piece of information in Gaki's smug face sooner or later. Lady and Lord Gakillian, or Gaki for short, had 3 daughters and 2 sons, and you are the last son.
My brother is a diseased scrotum who should have been drowned at birth. We don't like to talk about him.
Says here that he was an honorary commander during the 100-Year War.
Propaganda. If a coward can be a war hero, everyone else thinks they can too.
And that he's betrothed to the tastiest widow in the whole district.
He's a squawking harlot who's had everyone already and decided to settle for my brother because of his money, even though his face looks like a shit smear on a horse's arse.
And it seems like your mother is also. Gaki tears the folder from the girl's hands, looking through it to find the disgusting
nothing
lie.
but soul counts in here.
I know, Salios told me all that. Why did you lie to me?
I didn't lie!
He shouts back at her, his face blanched with blind anger. Slowly it fades. Nonetheless, it's hard to pretend that it was never there, which leaves a bad taste in the girl's mouth. Your name's not even Gaki.
No, it's not.
What is it actually, then? The fox boy remains quiet, pounding away the anger that his brother's memory turns in him, till Miles touches his hand and all those negative feelings vanish from him. Like a switch goes off in his head, Gaki's regular charm comes back in full force. Charm? Is that what you call this?
My sweetest beauty, is a secret I'll only reveal when we are married.
When?
Of course! I must marry the only twin-tailed Gumiho in all of hell. I mean, how amazing would that be?
I don't know which is worse, your patronizing tone or the fact that you honestly think I'd marry you.
They're as good as you want them to be.
The overconfident man smirks, pressing his fingers to the auditor's mouth, and stealing a kiss as he presses the same fingers to his own lips.
Keep these lips safe for me until our wedding night.
Miles wants to say something, but everything that comes to mind isn't nearly graphic enough to express what she wants to do to the Kitsune and his delusions.
Keep these safe for me, too.
Oh my.
Gaki hands back his family's file and adjusts his clothes, readying himself to go out on another search for the governess.
Oh, and make sure you tell that idiot Salios that he got our soul count all wrong.
What do you mean? These numbers are almost the same as all the others in its tier.
The Gakillian family has been performing higher than all those other slackers since the 100-Year War. All you have to do is look at our past files and you can see that.
Gaki points to a line of figures that, as far as Mom can see, are completely normal.
See, the soul count here should have been spiked. Father hired 7 extra maids during this quarter using all the extra revenue we made, and I sure didn't bust my ass collecting souls for the fact to be recorded incorrectly. It's just like that vampire, though. He's always been jealous of my success. But this is one thing he can't take away from me.
But if all the files are like this, Gaki, you said you go on collecting, so you must know.
I'm not saying another word. If you want me to sing, you're going to have to be a little nicer to me first.
Fine. The girl turns back to her work and begins to look through the other files. Gaki stands there, waiting for her son to change of tone, but nothing ever happens.
Hey, aren't you going to try to flirt the information out of me? I mean, it's valuable intel that I have here.
Whatever you know isn't worth stooping that low.
I'm easy. You don't even have to do anything. Just give me a smile. A wink, even. A friendly handshake.
Still, the Gumiho doesn't pay the man an ounce of attention. He stomps his feet and storms out of the room, leaving Miles with a smirk on her face and a fresh lead on her investigation. And with that, this episode has also run on long enough, and you know, Gaki always just ruins my entire existence, so... Until he decides to not be the worst thing I've ever read and or heard, I will no longer continue to play. Until the next episode. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. And as always, good night and joy be with you all. Woo!